A few weeks ago, I was involved in a car accident here in Serbia, and of course, no fault of my own, but it was my first car accident to experience here in Serbia. Now, we've worked with a number of clients from all over the world, and none of our clients have experienced a car accident so that we know firsthand what they experienced and what the process was. With that said, I learned a number of things when it comes to getting into a car accident here in Serbia, the things that the officers will be asking for and the things that they conduct, and how the whole process works with the insurance companies. But there is also one new bright light that came out of it. One was that nobody was injured in the car accident, but it also ended up giving us a new service here at Relocation Serbia, which I will enlighten you on today in this video. All right, well, I'm not going to really bore you with the whole where I was going, what I was doing, but with the whole scenario of the little minuscule things of the car accident. But long story short, I was driving straight, going out with my son to the mall, and as I was on the straight path lane, there was an individual in the left turning lane who decided he needed to continue straight, and instead of seeing me in his blind spot, he cut over and hit me, and we ended up staying still there. Now, when I got out of the car, the individual was pretty frantic about and pretty hard-fetched on moving our vehicles out of the way. And his first thing was, I'm going to pay you cash, I'm going to pay you cash, I'm going to pay you cash. And this first off raised some red lights to me is, you don't reconstruct the scene of the accident or remove yourself from a scene of an accident. But it also made me wonder why he was so adamant about leaving the scene and going around the corner and paying me out in cash. Now, of course, my car is not even a year old, or should I say just over a year old. And I don't want anything to happen when it comes to the warranty and guarantees and what the look of the car looks like. Now, everything that I'm speaking to you about in this video was done in the Serbian language. And so, of course, if you're in an accident here, you're most likely going to be dealing with someone who is speaking Serbian, the officers, the insurance companies, so on and so forth. Anyways, we ended up calling the cops because that's one of the things you're supposed to do here in Serbia, and wait till they come to the scene of the accident, and then they will conduct their investigation. But when I was waiting there, the individual that struck me said, hey, listen, call your mechanic, see how much this is going to cost to fix, and I will pay you cash right out front, because I just got fined by the cops 15 minutes ago. Once he said that, I knew something was up, and I said to him, listen, we're not moving the vehicles, we are calling the cops, so on and so forth, and that's it. When the cops arrived, they ended up, of course, this was at 5:30 in the evening, peak rush time hour, and people were pretty upset about us blocking up the traffic, especially at a intersection, which was a pretty main intersection. But one of the things that was really nice was while we were waiting for the police officers to arrive, I was holding my son, who is only 18 months old, in my arms, and there's multiple people stopping to say, hey, listen, can we drive your son home? Because this was in November and he didn't want him to be cold, but my son was pretty comfortable and warm with me, and I denied any of that. But it was a really nice, kind gesture from the individuals that stopped and offered that help. But when the cops came, they took pictures of the whole incident. I took pictures as well with my phone. I recommend you take pictures of the accident, the damages, as well as the license plate of the individual that hit you, because I was pretty sure that this individual, with how much he wanted to move away from the scene, might have taken off, and so I didn't want to be left with no information to get a hold of him just in case he did. But nonetheless, he never left. The cops came, took pictures of the scenario, and told us to move over into a bus lane for them to conduct the rest of their investigation. Now, when you get into an accident here in Serbia, regardless of who hit who, everybody gets a breathalyzer. That's a hands down non-negotiable here in Serbia. The officers asked, does anyone acknowledge fault in this accident? The gentleman that hit me, he did acknowledge that he was at fault because he was too busy looking at his phone rather than at the surrounding of the traffic around him. And so what ended up happening was the cops asked for your standard documents, driver's license, insurance, and registration, which I had everything. Unfortunately, the gentleman who, or should I say the teenager that hit me, had the insurance, but it was only on his dad's policy. He had a learner's permit only and not a full driver's license. And there was a document that we're supposed to fill out, which is called a European submission or investigation, but because the driver was not allowed to be driving the car as a learner, we never filled that out. So what ended up happening was the officers told me to stay in the car with my son just simply because it was cold. And this was the funny thing is, when the cops came to do the breathalyzer on me, they actually sat in the car with us and gave me the little mouthpiece that I'm supposed to insert in the breathalyzer. And of course, I did not drink and drive, and I blew a 0, same with the other individual. However, the time came to fill out the incident report, and so I had to fill out the incident report about what happened and handed that off, and he told me that I was on my merry way, gave me an incident number and said, hey, listen, this is the number you are going to need to get the transcript from the police station once it's done, which takes about a week. However, the other individual, he was not free to go because, of course, he was not allowed to be driving that vehicle. Now, after a week, I went to the police station, asked for the police report, and they said that it was not available. They gave me another number and said, hey, listen, go to the other party's insurance company and give them this number, and we'll electronically send the report to the insurance company. So I went to the insurance company, filled out all the paperwork. Mind you, all this paperwork that I'm doing, especially for my foreign people watching this video and potential clients in the near future, everything is done in Serbian, and so it's very helpful to have someone with you that speaks Serbian and knows how to fill out certain documents. Now, after I filled out all the documents, there was another individual that came out, took the pictures of my vehicle with all the damage and said this will be all submitted within the next 24 hours, and then you are able to go wherever you want your car repaired to get it repaired. I took the car to get repaired, no issues there. Honestly, in Serbia, where there's so much bureaucracy to be had, I found that this was one of the easiest, most straightforward processes. However, there was one thing that came to my mind is when The officers were letting me go from the accident, and after filling out the report, he said, hey, listen, do you have any lawyer available, or do you know a lawyer? And of course, we work with a bunch of them. And I says, yeah, I have a couple of lawyers that I can reach out to, so I don't need one recommended to me. He's like, if you need one, just let me know and I can forward you one. I said, no, that's no big deal. I was just in an accident. This is going to go through insurance. And I never brought it up to any of our lawyers because I was just like, hey, listen, like, I'm going to deal with this through the insurance. That's it. Nobody was injured, so on and so forth. So the car was repaired. And a week after I got my car back, I received a phone call from another lawyer who does injury law. Now, one of the things I've mentioned before is in Serbia, all lawyers are able to practice all aspects of law. It's up to those lawyers to specialize in one thing. And of course, our lawyers don't do injury law per se. That's not something that they specialize in. They specialize in things that we need as a business. And so when I received the phone call, the lawyer said, hey, listen, asked me a bunch of questions. Did you get the car repaired? I said, yes. And he said, hey, listen, did you sustain any injuries? I was like, I was a little bit shook up on it. But other than that, we were good. He's like, regardless of if you had injuries or not, you are entitled to some money from the insurance company. And I was like, really, how's that work? He explained to me the process, and he says, what happens is you just give us power of attorney, and we take this and file the appropriate paperwork. You pay us nothing out of pocket, and we get you the payment, and we take our 20%, and that's how that works. And with that said, we started talking about, because he came to our office here, of course, and said, what do you do? And I said, listen, I work with a lot of foreigners that come here and people who once left and are looking to come back. And he said, listen, a lot of people don't know the rules and regulations when it comes to car accidents and what they're entitled to, especially if they have injuries, if they have an older car that's not under warranty, and how we can help them out with zero out-of-pocket expense on their part. And we decided, hey, listen, this would be a great partnership to have together, where individuals that don't know how to deal with accidents and insurance claims, especially if there's injuries involved, God forbid there's a death involved, how do they, end up getting money out of it, or reimbursed for their losses through the insurance company. And so we ended up talking about how this would be a great option for our clients who unwillingly or unfortunately get into an accident. And so we started getting on that topic, and this is something that we start offering now. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you are a foreigner here and you are here under temporary residency, by law, you are supposed to switch over your driver's license within 6 months of being in Serbia. And one of the questions that arise by one of our clients, when I explained to him what just happened with my situation, he's like, I need to switch my driver's license. And how important is it to be done? I'm like, listen, you haven't been here for 6 months yet, but it would be highly recommended that you do switch it in the near future, especially, God forbid, that you got into an accident and you hand over your foreign driver's license, and they notice somehow that you've been in the country for longer than 6 months, you could get a fine as well. And I don't know what those fines range. Our clients have never received any fines of any sort, and I just don't wish that upon anyone. So I told them, hey, listen, this process to get your driver's license done here in Serbia with a new Serbian driver's license is fairly simple. We can guide you through the process, where you have to go for your physical, the taxes you have to get done, and what police station you actually have to file this paperwork in. And so one of the things I haven't talked about on this channel yet are accidents and how they can affect you, and the things that you are entitled to even as a foreigner when it comes to reimbursement, not only on your personal side, but also when it comes to your vehicle, and how you can have all this solved without actually having to do any of the legwork yourself. So fortunately, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. The car got fixed, no one was injured, and we are now able to offer another service to our clients that unfortunately may get into an accident. In the way that people drive here in Serbia, it's bound to happen, especially if you're someone that isn't familiar with how things operate here in Serbia. So thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.